In this video, we'll try to solve these three problems related to trigonometric ratios. If you're not familiar with trigonometric functions in different quadrants, please refer to video number 25 and onwards. We have discussed in detail how to calculate the angles in different quadrants for different trigonometric functions. Let us solve the first problem. So let's start applying the trigonometric ratios in different quadrants. So the first part is here cosecant of 90 plus x. This would be the second quadrant in which sine is positive as well as cosecant is positive. So the first value would change to secant of x. Now the second part would be 450 plus x, cotangent of 450 plus x. Now we have to identify what 450 is. So 450 can be rewritten as 360 plus 90 degrees. That means it is a boundary between the first and second quadrant, and there is an additional value of x, so this would definitely fall in the second quadrant. So in second quadrant, tan and cot are negative, so we can change this to cot of 90 plus x divided by, now cosecant of 90 minus x would be cosecant of x because it's the first quadrant, and sorry, this would be secant of x because it is 90 minus x, pi by 2 minus x, the trigonometric function changes, and tan of 180 minus x would remain as tan x, but in a negative value because it's the second quadrant. Now the second part, tan of 180 plus x, this is third quadrant where tan is positive, so this would be tan x, and this is secant of 180 minus x, so this is second quadrant where cos and secant are negative, so this will change to secant minus secant of x. Now the denominator here is 360 plus x, so this is the first quadrant. So in first quadrant all the trigonometry functions are positive, so this will be tan of x, and we know that secant of minus x is secant x because cos of minus x is cos x, so this will be secant of x. Now we can cancel this because they are equal. Now let's see what changes can be done in the first part of this equation. So this will be secant of x. Now cot of 90 plus x is second quadrant where cot and tan are negative, so this will be minus tan x divided by secant of x minus tan x because we have a negative here, plus 1. So the first part also, the numerator and denominator gets cancelled, so we'll have the value of 2. So this is how we can solve the first problem. Let us solve the second problem. We have to simplify this equation and find out what the final trigonometric ratio would be. So let's get started. So let us solve these angles first. So we will have 1 plus cot of x, and secant of pi by 2 plus x this is the second quadrant. In second quadrant cos and secant are negative, so what we would get is minus secant of, I'm sorry, just a second. So this will be minus of minus cosecant of x, and the second part 1 plus cot x, and this is again the second quadrant, this will be minus cosecant of x. Now this can be further simplified to 1 plus cot of x plus cosecant of x times 1 plus cot x minus cosecant of x. Now if you notice here, this is A and this part is B. So we are in a situation where the scenario is A plus B times A minus B. So we can rewrite this as 1 plus cot of x the whole square minus cosecant square x, which is a square minus b square. Now let's expand this equation. We will get 1 plus cot square x plus 2 cot x minus cosecant square x. Now we know the trigonometric identity 1 plus cot square x is cosecant square x. Let's apply that. So we will have cosecant square x plus 2 cot x minus cosecant square x. So the cosecant square x value gets cancelled. So the final answer would be 2 times cot of x. So this is how we can solve the second question. Let us solve the third problem. Here we have to simplify these trigonometric ratios and find out what the final value would be. So let's apply what we know. So tan of pi by 2 minus x, this is the first quadrant. So this will be cot of x, where everything is positive in the first quadrant. So no changes there. Now the second part is secant of pi minus x. So secant of pi minus x is second quadrant, and in second quadrant we have cos and sine as negative, correct? So this will be minus secant of x. Now sine of minus x is minus sine x. Let's solve the denominator now. Now we have sine of pi plus x. So this will be third quadrant, and in third quadrant sine is negative. So we will have minus sine x, and cot of 2 pi minus x. So this will be the fourth quadrant, and in fourth quadrant cot and tan are negative. So we will have minus cot of x. Now pi by 2 minus x is first quadrant. So in first quadrant all the trigonometric ratios are positive. So we will end up with secant of x. Now let's see what can be cancelled out. So secant can be cancelled, sine can be cancelled, and cot also can be cancelled. And if we observe here, we have two negative signs in the numerator and 2 in the denominator. So this will be minus 1 divided by minus 1, and the final answer is 1. So please watch video number 25 up to here. If you are not familiar with this concept, it will be very helpful to you. If you are liking the channel, please subscribe and share these videos with your friends. It will be helpful to them also. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.